except for next week because we're going to have to move some things around. It's holiday season. We'll make that happen. I'll let you guys know about that. Like I said, I don't even know what my holiday schedule is here as far as the Sports Fix for next week and then the week after that. It may just be a 2-day week next week and then a 3-day week the week after that. But we'll replay some of the better shows from the year, some different interviews. I want to replay Tom Hamilton and some stuff. We'll get into all that later. Let's get into the break and get back with Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, joining us next. Thanks to Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. Coming up next, Doug Plagens of the Lake Erie Monsters here on The Fix after this.
The Sports Fix, your choice for intelligent talk.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Intelligent talk.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
These guys must be on the wrong station.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
The Sports Fix.
Guys, want to take just a second as we head into this break and remind you about the official business printing source of the Sports Fix, our friends at Signs and Ship. Signs and Ship, I'm telling you, Chris and Pam, they've taken care of me since day one, and they can do the same for you. Whether you're a small business that's already been established and you're looking to grow to that next level and expand your business, or perhaps you've got an idea that you just know is going to be a great business and you need to figure out how to brand it and how to promote it and put it out there, Signs and Ship is the place for you. If you need a logo, they can create one for you. They have a fantastic graphic designer. Business cards, signs, banners, yard signs, mobile advertising, anything you can think of that you need to promote your business, they've got it at Signs and Ship. The best thing about them, too, is each of their locations, whether it's the home base here in Elyria, Ohio that I work with, or their spots in Virginia, Florida, and Pennsylvania, it's all local sourced. Very important to me because we all understand that small business is the lifeblood of the community. So check them out, signsandship.com, or call Chris and Pam today, 440-323-6060, the home office in Elyria, Ohio. Signs and Ship, quality printing at affordable prices.
It's the Sports Fix. We'll be right back.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Fantasy Jocks. Looking to upgrade your league trophy? Check out fantasyjocks.com for championship belts, rings, trophies, and more. Football season is party season at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. Everyone wins at Harry Buffalo. Every Saturday is Coors Light College Football Saturday with $6 pitchers, 4 bottles for $10, and the Buckeyes in full HD. Football season is most definitely party season, and your headquarters is Harry Buffalo North Olmsted all winter long. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
Hey, you guys are rocking with Reggie Germany, former wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills and Ohio State Buckeye. You're rocking with the Sports Fix.
Feel like a monster.
The secret side of me, I never let you see. I keep it.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock back with you guys, rolling on deep into we're in hour 3 here of this bad boy as we roll on. Real quick, I'm telling you, sometimes you think people's ears, you hear that old expression, somebody's talking about you, your ears are buzzing. Literally, before we went to the break, you guys, we were sitting here talking about Jason Kipnis with Dan Wismar here and talking about his prospects coming back. As I hit the break, I refreshed my email, and I just got a line from Bart Swain over at the Indians just moments ago about Jason Kipnis. He had surgery yesterday to repair. This is going to make some real faith installed in people here, as we were just talking about. He had surgery yesterday to repair a damaged tendon. Some people may have heard, may not have if you didn't. His off-season training activities at home. This week, the Indians saw him, determined it was a tendon tear, and that they needed to have surgery so he could be back in time for regular operations. He's expected to be here in time for the beginning of the next season. But Jason Kipnis, he had another injury here that he is going to have to come back from there. Just funny, as I refreshed it, I said, wow, we were just talking. Bart Swain's ears must have been ringing. He said, Let me go tell Jerry about Jason Kipnis real quick. Anyways, with that, welcome back to the show. J-Rock with you here, getting ready to go to the phones. You hear the music in the background. My man Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, getting ready to join us. Funny story. My phone died here as we were going, and we're off the rails here with the time on the show. And all of a sudden I realized that I hadn't checked in with Doug, and we're rolling into hour 3. I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry, man. My phone, I turned it back on during the break, and magically, bam, Doug Plagens with us. So let's go to the phones. You guys keep the conversation going. Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixcle, because on the phones, Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters. Doug, how you doing this afternoon?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm telling you, I'm talking to Dan Wismar in the last segment. We're talking about the Indians, and I turned my phone back on, and there's my text from you, and I go, oh, man, I haven't checked back in with Doug since my phone died. My phone died in, like, the middle of hour 2, and I didn't even get a chance to turn it back. I plugged it up, but I didn't actually turn it back on, and I'm sorry about that. I said, yes, we'll be 5 minutes. We'll be ready, but thanks for being flexible, my friend.
No problem at all. No problem at all. We're just out and about spreading some holiday cheer with Dominic Jones and Chad Schofield from the Gladiators here. So we're out and about town.
Oh, that's cool. Anything in particular you guys are into? Doing some?
Well, we were just doing a little hospital visit here over at University Hospital's Rainbow Babies Children's Hospital over here.
Were you guys beating them up at video games like Orlando Skandrick did, man? Were you guys out there taking them to school? I don't know if you heard that story.
More just kind of hanging out.
We told it last week. Orlando Skandrick went to the Children's Hospital with the Cowboys, and he was that old Dave Chappelle skit come to life. He was schooling a kid in Madden, and had no mercy on him, giving onside kicks while he's up by 30 points and all of that good stuff. And his teammates were mocking him because it was a Dave Chappelle skit come to life. But so you guys were just being nice, huh? Holiday spirit. That's all right.
Yep, just out and about hanging out.
That's always a good thing, though, man. How have you been here this week? Obviously, we'll talk a little Monsters here in a minute. Tough one here. They're bouncing back from. But talk to me a bit. How's your last week been?
It's been great. I've been busy, no question about it. The Monsters obviously had the games Friday, Saturday, and then I checked out TLC, the pay-per-view at the Q on Sunday, and then last night, Monsters back on the ice, and that's just part of this whole sprint right up to the Christmas break here for the Monsters with the game tomorrow night, and then a day off, and then Saturday night.
I was going to ask you about that Sunday night. I figured you probably went to the queue there, of course. I'm sure you have access to that stuff. You were there for the pay-per-view the other night?
It was awesome. Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever gone to a pay-per-view. And
really?
The main event was everything that could have hoped that it would be. And you know it's got to be a good main event when it's not even a title match and it's the headline of match of a pay-per-view. So you knew that was going to be awesome. It was very cool to see Dolph Ziggler win that ladder match, get the Intercontinental belt on his home turf, if you will. And the John Cena match was great too. I mean, everything the whole night was pretty solid.
Well, you know what? Got to give some love to my man Nick Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler. Did you notice he had the brownie elf on his tights? I don't know if you could see it live, but
he did. He did.
Yeah, he had the little brownie elf there. I thought it was cool in general Sunday. I love those days where you've got upwards of 80, 90,000 people downtown between the Browns game and the pay-per-view event there at the Q. I love those, man, for the just for the city and all of that. But it was good to see again another big time show, regardless of whatever, another big time deal coming here. It's been a few years. I think it's been Survivor Series 2008 may have been the last time they brought a pay-per-view here to Cleveland. I know it's been quite a while.
It was before my time here. So
yeah,
you'd be a better source on that than me.
Nah, I stopped paying attention to that stuff a while ago too. But it's been that's when matter of fact, I worked that show. I was on that show. I was a druid actually for the Undertaker. And yes, I know they're not actually dead people, but believe it or not. But yeah, that was Survivor Series. No, Survivor Series was Detroit, but it was about. Basically,
what you're telling me is you've been a druid for the Undertaker, and that
a couple of times. a couple of times. Come on, that's just extra stuff. Anybody can do that. I've been a paramedic who was beaten up by Kane before on Monday Night Raw. I've been a druid for The Undertaker. I've been a security guard who was assaulted by The Big Show. I've gotten assaulted in many different Halloween costumes on WWF programming over the years. And then I got beat up in my hometown by Gene Snitsky. That one was just a good old wrestling match in the ring. But that was pretty cool because I wore my Browns tights. Well, I wore my Browns tights, so much like the Browns, I got to get smacked around in my own hometown here in front of my fans. But it was cool, represented, But anyways, we're done talking. We're getting back to it. Doug Plagens, voice of the Monsters. Let's talk a little Monsters hockey here. As you said, last night, Monsters got nothing to the Milwaukee Admirals. Talk to me a bit about the last week of Monsters hockey.
Well, the Friday night against Rockford, and that was a big start of a big homestand and a chance for some ground here in the Western Conference race. They got the win on a Friday night by a 4-2 score over Rockford, West Division leader, and that was a big win for the Monsters. The next night, I talked about it so many times. It doesn't matter what the matchup is. It is hard to beat a team 2 times in a row in the American Hockey League, especially back-to-back nights. So, Rockford came out, got the 5-2 win. They had a big showing from their captain, Joachim Nordstrom, who had a hat trick in that game, 4 points overall. Monsters split the weekend. You split the weekend against the division leader. It's not the worst thing in the world. You're still, you saw the 6-game win streak come to a close, which at some point, and they fell in that game on Saturday night. Their 8-game point streak actually tied a team record. They've had 4 8-game point streaks in their history, and that was one of them that came to a close with that loss on Saturday. And then last night, Monsters fell 4-0 to Milwaukee, and that was a big game. The start of back-to-back against the Admirals. 2 teams play again tomorrow. Going into last night's game, the Monsters had a 1-point lead in the standings and held on to that 8th and final playoff spot. So with Milwaukee getting the win, they jumped over the Monsters, took that 8th and final spot. Monsters moved down to 9th, and that adds even more onto tomorrow's game. But last night, one of those games, Monsters just couldn't really solve the opposing goaltender. He had a 29-save shutout, and Milwaukee just, they got the lead in the first, and they just kept adding to it. Milwaukee has never lost in regulation when they've led after the first or the second period this year. So, history was on the Admirals' side last night, and the Monsters will try and turn things around tomorrow.
I didn't realize that 8-game streak was a record there. They did that 4 times. That one, of course, spanned from November 28th up until last Friday, the 12th. They now have, even with the 2 losses in a row here, points in 10 of their last 13 games, and it's definitely good to see that after some up and down struggles. We talked about getting themselves going, getting your feet underneath you in the first few weeks of the season here to take advantage of this. And then the games got more regular, too, and it seems like maybe that has helped the Monsters as well here, because you get a little more rhythm instead of stop and start that the perhaps early part of the season was more like. We talked about the pace of games picking up now, adding those midweek games, and it seems that the Monsters have responded well to that on the ice.
I don't think there's any question about it. Guys want to play, and it seems like that every year in October and the first part of November. You're really just playing Friday and Saturday games, the occasional Sunday game, and you have Monday through Thursday off every week, and these guys like to get on the ice and play. It's a 76-game season, and once you get into that rhythm and you start having the midweek games become more frequent as they have lately, I think it just makes everybody start to click a little better, and that is really when the Monsters started to turn things up, is when those midweek games started to become more regular on the schedule. And this week you have 2 of them, and then you have the game on Saturday, and now there's a lot riding on these 2 games, Milwaukee tomorrow night and then Grand Rapids on Saturday before a break, and then 3 road games for the Monsters right after Christmas. So, the Monsters 2 games over 500, and they're going to need to pick up a couple of points here to keep that momentum going into the break.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, 2 of those coming up here before the holiday break. Thursday, Milwaukee, Saturday, Grand Rapids. Hey, I think we've seen them once or twice here.
No kidding. 8 meetings on the season. 2 Monsters and Grand Rapids already. The Monsters and Grand Rapids 2 teams already. No secrets. Everybody knows everybody was defending seed. Everybody knows everybody's going out to see on Saturday night. If you get there early enough, you can get some ear warmers as well. It's year one.
So there you go. You heard that right here on the Sports Fix from Doug Platt. Right here on Wismar's Thursday and Saturday. Drop for both Thursday, actually 7 o'clock. Milwaukee on the Thursday. Grand Rapids on Saturday. Doug, I know I don't want to keep it too much longer, but people will not just have the queue, but people will be able to see the Masters a few more times this year as well, too. I saw it's 5 games, I believe, with Channel 53 games. Masters games, channel 4 being televised and here this